If you're hunting for a poolside lounge that actually lasts and feels right after a few minutes of setting up, you're not alone. Most of us have tried that cheap plastic thing that warps in the sun or a metal frame that rusts after a season, and the disappointment is real. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon, and I've spent the last week testing the Poppyleaf Outdoor Chaise Lounge to see if it finally bridges that gap between durability and comfort. When I first pulled the 4-piece set out of the box, the first thing I noticed was the weight of the frame. The aluminum isn't the featherlight alloy you get on budget loungers, it feels solid, almost like a low-profile bike rack. That heft translates into stability. I set the chaise on a sunny spot by the pool, and even after a gusty afternoon the frame didn't wobble. For anyone who's ever had a lounge tip over when someone leans back to read, that's a subtle but huge win. The real test, though, is how the chair lives through the daily ritual of sunbathing, quick dips, and the inevitable splash zone. The cushion is 3.15 inches thick and comes loose, which is a deliberate design choice. You can pull it off, toss it in the laundry, or leave it on for a seamless look. The fabric is UV-resistant and quick-dry, so after a swim it sheds water in seconds instead of clinging like a wet towel. I left it out for a full day in mid-July, and the cushion stayed firm, no sagging in the middle, no hard spots where the foam had compressed. That kind of resilience is what makes a lounge feel like an investment rather than a disposable piece. The hand-woven wicker armrests are more than a visual flourish. They give you a place to set a cold drink without worrying about a flimsy plastic arm that snaps under weight. I found myself resting a book on the right arm while I stretched out, and the wicker held steady. The neck-supporting headrest is another practical touch. It's adjustable enough to accommodate a short nap or an upright reading posture. The combination of headrest and armrests makes the chair feel more like a mini recliner than a simple slab of metal and fabric. Now, let's talk about the trade-offs. The biggest one is assembly. The frame comes in 3 large sections that bolt together, and you need a screwdriver and a bit of elbow grease. It's not a 1-minute pop-out, but the instructions are clear, and the whole process took me about 20 minutes. If you're looking for a plug-and-play solution you might balk at that, but the extra effort pays off in the sturdiness of the final product. Another consideration is storage. Because the cushion is loose, you can't stack the chaise flat for a tight garage. You'll need a little extra room on the patio or a dedicated corner. That's fine for a permanent backyard setup, but renters or anyone with a balcony that doubles as a storage closet might find it inconvenient. Price is the next factor. The Poppyleaf set sits in the mid to high range for outdoor loungers. You're paying for the rust-proof aluminum, the thick, breathable cushion, and the hand-woven accents. If you compare it to a basic metal chair that will need replacement in a couple of seasons, the math leans toward the Poppyleaf when you factor in longevity. However, if you're on a shoestring budget and only need a temporary spot for a summer gathering, a cheaper alternative might make more sense. Who should buy this? If you have a dedicated patio, poolside area, or garden space where you plan to lounge year after year, this set checks the boxes. It's especially appealing to families who want a reliable spot for kids to stretch out while an adult reads, or to hosts who like to keep a stylish, comfortable lounge ready for spontaneous gatherings. The rust-proof claim isn't just marketing fluff. After a week of exposure to salty pool water and occasional rain, there was no sign of oxidation or discoloration. That durability is a real value add for anyone who doesn't want to replace furniture every season. On the flip side, skip it if you're living in a rental where you can't commit to a permanent fixture, or if your outdoor space is so compact that a 4-piece lounge would dominate the area. The weight and size also make it a bit of a hassle to move around once it's set, so if you like rearranging your layout weekly, you might prefer a lighter, more portable option. And if you're looking for an ultra-budget piece to use once a year, the higher upfront cost may not justify the long-term benefits. A practical scenario that helped me decide was a Saturday afternoon when the kids were splashing in the pool and my partner was grilling. I was able to lay out the chaise, slip the cushion on, and within 5 minutes I was soaking up the sun with a cold drink on the armrest, eyes on the grill, and a book propped on the headrest. The cushion didn't get soggy when the